For those of you who like Deus Ex, not Machina, but the video games, the one Adam Jensen, I've got terrible news for you.
Coming from the guy who thought this was a lolly, I'm never gonna let him live it down. Embracer Group has canceled a Deus Ex game that has been in development for over 2 years with an unspecified number of staff who worked on the game.
So that sucks. I've never played the Deus Ex games, but I do know that Adam Jensen is hot. Anyway, welcome to Necro News, the show where we cover the hottest game news from the last week.
This week, we'll be covering Sony's State of Beyblade.
There is a tremendous power hidden within bays.
This week, we'll be covering Sony's State of Play, Hasbro selling D&D licenses, the mysterious reason behind Spec Ops The Line delisting everywhere, and more stuff.
So be sure to subscribe to the channel to keep up to date.
Today's first story comes to us from Badriel. If you'll remember, the god-awful MMO The Day Before came out, sucked ass, and then was pulled from sale and the studio shut down. Shortly afterwards, the devs then complained they were the victims of harassment.
They claimed that they implemented everything shown in the trailers and that certain bloggers and anonymous sources were creating essentially fake news to generate revenue for themselves.
Would you believe that that's not at all true? Anyway, German gaming sites Game2 and GameStar both launched investigations into the company to find out what happened, and you want to guess what they found out? That the game was made by really incompetent people. How surprising.
Game2 spoke to 16 former Fantastic employees and 7 staff from the Day Before's publisher Mytona. According to reports, the game was constantly messed with by the whims of the founders of Fantastic, the Gotovtsev brothers.
Yeah, I think that's right. Gotovtsev. Sure.
And unsurprisingly, the scope and style of the game changed every time one of them learned of the newest game of the month.
For instance, it's claimed that the character creator was overhauled many times to keep up with other games such as GTA Online, Baldur's Gate 3, and Hogwarts. It's also alleged that the entire dreary, smoky, and oppressive city was changed to be brighter and friendlier after one of the founders played Spider-Man 2.
And for the cherry on top, one of the developers didn't even know the game was an MMO until they saw the trailer for the game.
Did you see the memo about this?
Add overwhelmingly terrible employee treatment, such as taking young and inexperienced workers from places like Kazakhstan and Armenia and having them do tons of unpaid volunteer work and overtime, and you get the idea. So, where does this leave the founders of the company?
No one knows. The brothers went AWOL around the game's launch and no one really knows where they went. Some people seem to believe that one or both of them started a game studio for mobile games, but it's unclear.
So, did you guys buy the game? If you did you find it fun? The devs seem to think that the game was fun for a lot of people and that they really liked the game, so let us know in the comments. Thank you to Rainy VTube, Dip, and Deku Franku for delving into the story, which was originally a little bit harrowing, as it was claimed that Hasbro was looking to sell the Dungeons & Dragons IP to Tencent.
The Beijing-based English news site Pandaily reported the story on the 31st last month, saying that Hasbro was looking to sell the IP entirely, and that Tencent was one of the potential buyers. This isn't that surprising if you knew the fact that Tencent owns 40% of Larian Studios, the company that made Baldur's Gate 3, which is based off of D&D.
So, because Tencent is shit and Hasbro is greedy, people started worrying and saying some fun stuff online in reaction to the possible news.
This reaction turned out to be massively blown out of proportion though, because guess what? Pandaily lied. Via the website Icebreakers, Hasbro put out this following message.
I was going to paraphrase it. They say we're not looking to sell our D&D IP. We'll keep talking to partners about how to bring the best digital experience to our fans. What does that mean? Hasbro's not selling the IP, just licensing it. And Pandaily should probably not be trusted as a news source.
This next story comes to us from Wrestle Senpai in the Necro News Discord. The popular military shooter Spec Ops The Line is being delisted from every digital storefront such as Green Man Gaming, Fanatical, and Steam.
Many gamers have claimed that the game is one of the better military shooters, probably because it very unabashedly criticized other games in the genre. So no one's really sure why the stores are delisting the game in the first place.
Well, on the 30th, 2K Games sent a letter to IGN stating that Spec Ops The Line will no longer be available on online storefronts as several partners... You motherfucker. Well, on the 30th, 2K Games sent a letter to IGN stating that Spec Ops The Line will no longer be available on online storefronts as several partnership licenses related to the game are expiring.
While specifics aren't exactly there, I know that the game had music by Alice in Chains and Jimi Hendrix, so that's likely the licenses that they were talking about. But anyway, if you already own this 10-year-old game, you're going to be able to keep playing it and downloading it all you want, but if you don't have it...
Take what he will, but don't rattle me bones!
This week, Sony held their State of Play conference, and surprisingly, there were a lot of games announced, including a sequel to Norman Reedus and the Funky Fetus. And I guess Kojima is also making a new spy game.
But let's talk about that guitar gun.
Don't lie, you're into that.
No, yeah, but not in that game. Look, I want my UPS delivery simulator. Anyway, there was also a look at Silent Hill 2's combat system, and I'm just gonna save you time. Don't buy it. It's got QuickTime events. They're taking inspiration from Resident Evil 4, not Silent Hill 2, which seems to be counterproductive to making a Silent Hill game.
The Sakura monster looks rad though.
The what monster? That's not from Silent Hill 2. That is from the short game that they just released and will probably tie into Silent Hill F. Anyway, they also announced Sonic X Shadow, which is a complete remaster of Sonic Generations, but with an entirely new campaign centered around Shadow the Hedgehog and his nemesis, Black Doom.
Of course his name is Black Doom.
I mean, just look at him.
Hi, Shadow. It's me, the devil.
Aside from the State of Play, there were a handful of games that were announced this week, so we wanted to highlight them for everyone.
The devs of the Burnout series, Stellar Entertainment, have tweeted out this picture, hinting that they could be making a new Burnout game. Adding to that fire, the studio also posted on their website that they're hiring for a racing title built on Unreal Engine 5.
The devs of Celeste have decided to celebrate the 6th anniversary by releasing Celeste 64. The game is a fully free game that's based around N64 collectathons. They also released the source code on GitHub so that anyone can mess with it if they wanted, so that's cool.
And finally, while watching literally hours of Steamboat Willy content on YouTube, I came upon probably the most creative use of the now public domain mouse, a game where you play as Mickey as he escapes into the public domain. The game ensures that everything used within the game is public domain, which is pretty cool. Does that make the game itself public domain? This week's Buried Alive Banger, a segment where we cover a game our community doesn't think has had enough attention, is Touhou Empire. It was about time I covered a Touhou game.
Touhou Empire is an RTS that allows you to do everything that your typical RTS experience gives you, like building a base, making units, whatever. But now you get to do it out of one of 40 Touhou characters.
And here are the games coming out this week. Foamstars comes out.
And we're going to stream it. Speaking of which, this is our streaming schedule for the next week. I'll be playing more Class of 09 with Dog.
And that's it for this week's Necro News. If you like what we do here and want to keep up to date, consider subscribing to the channel.
And if you made it this far into the video, you're rad. And also a very special thank you to all of our channel members, of course. If you like our content and want to support us, consider joining.
We're also trying to raise funds for Ellie's new live 2D model. So if you want to help out, the link to the coffee is down in the description. That's all we have for this week. So until next time, goodbye.